grab your coffee. It's all of my completed pages from January 2023, plus all those who participated in my hashtag event. Now, the theme for January on the M.A.G.G Y250_January was cats, and naturally that was a hit out there in the colouring community because I can't say who doesn't love cats. There are people out there that don't love cats, but a lot of people do. So there will be a lot of pages to showcase at the end of this video of everyone who participated, but let's have a look at what I did first of all. Now, I did some, just one out of this far out Space Adventure colouring book. I know it doesn't have cats in it, but hey, I used cat page markers, so I stayed on theme there. But I felt like doing one from this book because I hadn't picked it up for a little bit, and I still love this book. I still love the way it works. So I did this page using alcohol markers, which is the point of the book, so that when it bleeds through to the other side, you get that image. So yeah, I still love this book. I think I'll try and work on it a lot more throughout the year and maybe even finish it. I don't have a 10 books to finish type list. That could be something if I decided to do it. Next one I did was from Glitter Colouring Book. I did 2 images in this one, and I believe they might both actually be cat themed. So there's this one. Now I did it with Sharpies. Just looking at the back, yeah, Sharpies, and I'm not sure if it comes through very well on camera, but the idea is there's certain parts of the book like here that are glittered already, and so when you colour over it, it should make it look a bit more shiny. Like I said, I can't see if it comes through. I can't see while I'm filming it, so I'll know in editing whether or not it worked, but that was the first one. And no, the second one was a rabbit because it is the year of the rabbit now in Chinese New Year. Now, I believe for the Vietnamese community, it's actually the year of the cat, so it worked out well both ways. So it's a rabbit or a cat, depending on which one you celebrate. I think a majority is shown as the rabbit, but for the Vietnamese community, it is a cat. So I did this bunny. I actually like the colours in this one. Again, it was Sharpies. I tend to use Sharpies in this book because they work well on the glitter. They don't rub off. But you don't have smell-o-vision. But if you had smell-o-vision on this, whew, they really do quite smell. So even with my nose infection, still I can smell that through quite strongly. But those were the 2 I did from Glitter Colouring Book. Then, well, I had to obviously use a book called Cats and Cat Cafes if I was doing a cat theme. So now I did the front page, which is only just like a few tiny little images to colour, but then I used my dot markers to add some pizzazz, whatever you want to say, to the background. And I used water-based markers. And I did this one as well. Again, all just water-based markers. Just realised I didn't colour the ball of twine or the cupcake holder. Well, it's done. I don't go back and fix up pages if I mucked them up. It's done. It's smart. Why can't they be white? They could be white ball of yarn and a white cupcake holder. That's that one. And the last one here, I was trying, it didn't work out, but I admit I was using my Artex pencils and I was trying to do a tortoiseshell pattern, but also a fur texture, just to see if I could do something, you know, that wasn't a straight colour. And I don't know, I sort of like it, I sort of don't. I loved it when I had the split face because that reminded me of Luna. That's why I did the split face there when we got her and she was a kitten. She was very much two-faced, two-colour-faced cat, but the rest of it I think I was too rigid in making sure it was like all in a line section when it should have been a bit more flowy, but I gave it a go. It's the first time I've tried doing this sort of thing. Yeah, it does look furry, like I don't know, again, I have to tell in editing. But it's not like a perfect solid line. Like, it does look like a fur texture in that sense, but I think pattern-wise I might have made it a bit too rigid. But this is the year of experimenting and learning new things. So they were from Cats and Cat Cafes. Ramen animals, I did 2 from here. I did this gorgeous cat eating their ramen with a beautiful background. Now, I actually really am happy with this page. I, again, went over the cat, like I did it with alcohol markers, and I went over the cat that I coloured in solidly with grey with the blender to try and make it a bit more rough and a fur pattern. I'm not I can see it on the naked eye. Again, I'm not too sure how that's working on camera, but that was the idea, to make it a bit more blotchy like a fur pattern. And I love the sakura in the sky. So I'm actually really quite happy with this one, being that it was all alcohol markers, apart from the eyes, which I used Crayola gel pen. And this one as well, another cat eating their ramen. So alcohol markers, again I did the solid colour with alcohol markers and went over it with roughly with the colourless blender to see if that sort of worked on a fur pattern. Again, I can see it on the naked eye, not sure how it's coming out on camera, but for the background, so for the floor pattern and the wall, I used pastels, and you can see I didn't really care about staying within the lines. I just spread them everywhere. I think with these ones, I'm just trying to remember, I think I just smeared the pastel on, like the stick of it, and just used it on, and then just rubbed it vigorously with my finger. That's why it was sort of out of the lines and I didn't mask off the edging. Don't care. It's rough. I like it. I like the colour scheme. I'm happy with it. So they were the 2 I did from Ramen Animals. Next book, Tiny Cats. Now I did the front title page, which just had the word Tiny Cats, or the words Tiny Cats and the cat on there, and I coloured them in with alcohol markers, and then the rest of the page was very blank, just white. So I thought I'd use some of my origami paper that I've shown in previous videos and just cut off sections of it and stick it on to give it a bit more of an interesting look. I like it. It's just something different to try. If you don't want to end up with like just a fully white background and you don't feel like breaking out pastels and things like that, use some origami paper. And the other one I did was just This Book Belongs To page. And I think I coloured this in with, it might have been a combination of water-based markers and alcohol markers. It was just a easy, quick one to colour in, but I did a haiku because that's one of my goals for my year to 50 is to write 50 haikus. I'm very far behind on that, I should say already, but I did write one in this book that can be counted, and this little cat here is writing it, and it says, "Humans are so cute. They look after us so much. Pets and cuddles rule." So there is your haiku from your little grey cat. If you're not sure about the rule of haikus, I didn't get it for a long time, and then once you realise what it is, you know, you just write to your heart's content. I'm not saying they're good haikus, but it's basically you just have to have 3 sentences. The first sentence composes of 5 syllables, the second sentence 7 syllables, and the third sentence 5 syllables. So just remember 575, and you can write a haiku. So they were the pages done from Tiny Cats. Pastel Goth, cute and creepy colouring book. Now this one I was experimenting as well, being that it's the year I'm starting to try things out more. Now this one I'm not too happy with, but what I used was alcohol markers, some watercolour paints from Kmart, and some of the watercolour gold paints from Kuretake, and a paint pen. So the background, it's not the gold one, sorry, this is the gold and the gem ones from Kuretake. So the background is the amethyst type watercolor paint. The gold paint is here in the moon and the pentagram. And for the Kmart paints, I used on the wings, I think it might have been water paint on the cat as well, and the paint marker is the black one, just to outline where the images are to make it a bit more solid. So look, it's okay. Like, I know I've got a lot of practice to do with watercolor. It's a very rough background, but then a sort of watercolor doesn't really give a consistent background. I don't know. This is also not watercolor paper. I need to understand that. I like the way the golds came out. It's just, yeah, the purple, I think I was a bit rough. I wasn't quite even with it, so, but that's okay. First attempt again. I need to work on these things to get them right. I was really happy with the red Kmart watercolor paint because I managed to water it down enough to give it like a little tiny pink bit for the fur there and have it really nice and dark for the wings and in between color for the membrane part of the wing. So I was happy with that. But, you know, as I said, this is the year for new and exciting things, so I tried it out. But yeah, enjoyed doing that one. Chubbies, Chubby Animals Summer Fun. So you can probably guess I did the cover one in here. And this was alcohol markers and paint pen. So the paint pen is the white part to try and make it look a bit more like water. And the rest of it is all alcohol markers. It's such a cute little image. It's Chubby Cat sitting in his, or the fish bowl. Now, I didn't want to do it identical to the colours here, but I did it sort of similar. Oh no, I didn't even really do it sort of similar. Yeah, no. I went with my own colour scheme. So rather than lemons, they're limes. And he's more of a ginger cat. Full ginger cat or beige cat, but yeah, I gave it a go. I tried to make it look like the color difference when they're in water. So I think what I did, I'm trying to remember because you know, I've done a few pages, so I've forgotten, but I think I just went over, I colored the cat in full and then went over it in blue, which was the color of the water, just to see if that changed the color a bit, and I think it did, but it hasn't worked perfectly. I'm still trying to learn how to do that balance. And I added some shading parts, which is something I don't normally do. I expect to see a bit more of this in the year. So that was the only one I did. Oh no, oh, there's a tag here. I did a second one. The bunnies. How could I forget the bunnies? Again, being that it is the year of the rabbit. So I used alcohol markers and some watercolor crayons with this one. So I colored in, I think it was the big things like the fence, the flowers and the umbrella with the alcohol markers, and the bows, but the green grass and the rabbits themselves are done with watercolor crayons. So that was, I just roughly colored them, the area in, and then went over it with water. And another experiment with a product I don't normally use, but I bought, so I have to start using the things that I bought. And I'm not too unhappy with it. It was again a first attempt at using this stuff, so you know, it came out okay, but yeah, not too unhappy with it. Obviously lots of room for improvement, but be happy with the result. And the last one from me has last book I should say, also has 2 images, and these were cats as well. So this one Kmart watercolor paints. So I've got a note here, got bored in process, so slapped on paint. So I was really trying to, because this is a very Zentangle type image, and I was trying to do the color, the Zentangle part very patiently, and as it says, I got bored with the process, so I just went in huge chunks of color. So this is actually paint pen, so I just blanked out a whole area with black and green there. You can see the grey come through slightly with the Zentangle patterns, and around here I just couldn't be bothered with the entire Zentangle bit. And then just for the background again, slapped on the watercolor paint. So This is a problem I have, I know. I get bored easily. I could have kept it and done it as a whip, but unfortunately I didn't. I just slapped on the colour and be done with it. And I just have to live with those decisions when I make them. And this one I'm happier with. This one I again did, oh, I've got to look at my notes. So it's, the background is a metallic gel crayon. So what I did with that one was colour it on a plastic palette. I have added some water, so it was basically watercolour, and it has a slight metallic look to it. But the pussycat face itself, I used origami paper. Again, it was going to be a Zentangly type cat image like that first one where there's lots of different lines and arts, etc. But I wanted to colour it in with just using origami paper. So I'm really quite happy with this one. I had to use a light pad and trace out the cat face on the origami paper and slap it all down. So yeah, and I then went over it with a black paint pen just to highlight the outline and the difference there, but it's for his nose and his whiskers. I've done whiskers as well. So I'm really quite happy with this one. So that was the last of the ones I did for the month of January 2023. So I will now do the showcase of everyone that participated in hashtag M.A.G.G year 250 _January, which of course the theme was cats. So a huge thank you to everyone who participated. But before I cut to those images, I will just say thank you to everybody for watching. It is truly appreciated. If this is your first time stumbling across my channel, please consider subscribing and hitting that notification bell. It's a mixed bag of a channel. There's a bit of everything on here, so there should be something for you to watch and enjoy. If you are interested in supporting the channel further, I do have a Ko-fi and a Patreon account set up, and the details are up here on screen. The new hashtag event for this month, for February, is Ancient Egypt and Mummies. Again, it's for the colouring community, for diamond painting, for cross stitch, if you do puzzles, if you make resin, whatever your hobby or craft may be. If it fits that theme, put a picture up there on Instagram. The details are up here for my Instagram account. And yeah, I'd love you all to participate. So I will say goodbye for now, and we will cut over to the January entries for my hashtag, and that will be it for this video. So